Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about something that I've been thinking about for a while, and that is the art direction of Pokemon, specifically the modern games. So I'm not talking about the designs of the Pokemons themselves. What I mean is the actual art direction of the new games, specifically the mainline games. So these graphical issues aside in Scarlet and Violet, I still think the games follow a really safe and boring art style that was introduced really heavily in Sword and Shield. Now granted, those games did look better because it was following those different zone structures instead of one overall unique world, which meant that they could kind of put the polish into those zones as they didn't need to be attached. So first off, I want to take a look at the actual art direction in Scarlet and Violet. So these games did attempt to make a unique open world for the first time, really, but to me it came off as dull and lackluster. So you'll obviously see the cities are really quite dull. That's probably held back by those restrictions. You'll see the 5 SPS people in the backgrounds. It just really lacks that kind of visual polish and the uniqueness that we have felt in those previous games, especially as someone that grew up as a kid. I know we're talking pixel art here at this point, but each area kind of felt unique and felt like it had its own place in the world. So the technical issues like the frame drops and the texture pop-ins do distract from the overall experience. I still often feel that it feels underwhelming regardless of these visual issues, but that doesn't need to be the case. So I wanted to talk about a few different key areas that I think Pokemon need to improve on that will help bring Pokemon to those modern game standards that I actually think they're lacking behind now. So first off, I'm going to do a lot of comparisons against Pokemon Legends Arceus. Anyone that's been around on this channel for a while knows, probably my favourite modern Pokemon game, but I do think it was really solid of them to take a different approach with its art style. So they went for a more stylised and painted aesthetic, so think of something closer to the anime. I personally feel like this was a massive improvement over Sword and Shield, probably my favourite of the 3D games, and now I know this might be a bit of a hot take on the art design, so let me know in the comments if you agree with me or if you disagree and why. I'm really keen to hear what you guys think. So I think that Legends itself focuses on immersing players in Hisui and the beauty of each of its zones. So the environments feel harmonious together with an overall art direction that enhances the sense of adventure and exploration and makes you feel like the Pokemon are actually living in this world, despite not having the idle animations that Scarlet and Violet introduced, which I actually do love. The Skybox alone is a huge improvement on Scarlet and Violet, despite being the older of the two games, and shows how one simple improvement can change how the overall world feels. So the next thing I want to talk about is the terms of the environment design. So Scarlet and Violet world feels really disjointed to me. There's a mix of styles, and I think some areas lack the depth and detail you'd think you'd see in a modern Pokemon game, especially the water zones. So the glare alone from the weird lighting in this game can make the areas really annoying to travel through, but they also don't actually have real design in them. They're just coastal beaches or rivers through different areas. A lot of the time they're actually even too shallow to have Pokemon spawn in them, which is very odd, and the lakes are quite small as well. The bamboo forest and the desert do feel like unique spots in the map, but they just feel bland to me, and they feel like they were just included to tick off a checklist of environments, which is kind of annoying, to be completely honest. In comparison, I think Legends follows a more consistent visual style that emphasizes the sense of place in that world. So each area feels like it's actually thoughtfully crafted, which enhances your immersion and makes you feel like you're actually in a real place in this world. It doesn't matter the zone you're in, except for maybe the ice area. That place is not the best designed. But besides that, each unique zone feels different to each other, but it feels like you're actually a part of the world. So I understand they've still kind of copied the normal tropes you see. There's a beach area with a volcano, there's the kind of flowing grasslands, there's the more rocky-based area and things like that, right? They have followed those typical things, but it does feel more connected to each other rather than how it kind of feels like Scarlet and Violet's been slapped together, regardless of that it's a big open world. So I do think that the DLCs are an improvement over the main game in their actual design. I really feel like Kitakami and the Blueberry Academy zones are a big improvement, but that doesn't really take away from the overall design of the open world in the base game in Paldea and the way the art style's kind of going with your player character and things, despite the Pokemon do actually look quite good in Scarlet and Violet. So it's very odd to me that your player looks boring and basic, but yet things like Seviper has snake skin texture. So there's these weird big improvements in one area and then kind of detractions in others, and that art design I do feel like needs to pivot a little bit, otherwise we're going to be stuck with these kind of very generic looking Pokemon games. So it does really feel like that world is slapped together, and I do think that by Legends utilising that more anime and Japanese colour palette and design philosophy, I think it actually improved the designs of the Pokemon themselves and the world. It's something I'd really love to see carried forward, to be completely honest. I know they're not going to pivot to that level, but we'll see what happens with Pokemon Legends ZA coming out next year, which will be really good. Super excited for that game, guys. So let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think that Scarlet and Violet are following a boring trajectory on their game design and the graphic design itself, the art direction? And do you think that Pokemon Legends Arceus is an improvement despite being the older game? Let me know what you think, guys. I'd really love to see a few of you guys commenting. I do want to do more of these discussion essay type videos, and try and bring some more personality to the channel. If you liked the video, leave us a like. If you didn't like it, leave us a dislike, it's fine. And subscribe for more content, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.